Well, hello everybody. It's Tuesday, but this is kind of a special request video from Pestle Man. He, we had made a comment, and me and him had talked about it a little bit, but he wanted to see my Dalton transitional case, which all of these points are all waterway finds. I've only ever found one Dalton in the dirt, and that was my Dalton drill right there. And right now I have it temporarily in someone else's hands. But, because it's probably going to be a lengthy video anyways, we'll go ahead and get started. This one here is out of the creek. It's 3.5 inches just being broke. So it was probably one of those 4.5 inch points. But made us some stellar mosaic, probably fresh out of the bank too. Otherwise it would probably have the creek patine on it like a lot of these other ones do. But that come out of one of my favorite hunting spots. This here's a little hemp hill I had found over there with Devin one time. And the reason it's a hemp hill, we believe it's a hemp hill and not an Osceola. It's really nicely thin, which your Osceolas will be thicker. And then if you can see it, hopefully my focusing's working good, but each blade edge has a bevel to it, but it's on all four sides. It's not. It's just a slight bevel to each edge. Then here we have, and it's missing some ears, maybe not so much off of this ear, but this area it is, a hemp hill Dalton. And this is made out of some awesome banded mosaic, just some stellar stuff. Impact brake going up the tip on that side. And this point here, I don't know what to call this point. Has some awesome flaking on it. Just some awesome flaking. It's made real nice. And this side, a lot of the flaking goes straight across. And then the other side, it has the good collateral flaking, making a median ridge. And it's kind of ground, but I'm not sure this corner of the base here, I think that's just probably was beat off and then just worn by the creek. Just a little bit of tip missing. But I think this point might be made out of petrified wood. Look what happens when you get it wet. It changes color. See, watch it get dry. And it goes back to that dull color. Same on this side. You get it wet, and it turns like that real nice, pretty looking maroon there. So, I don't know. I don't have many other points that do that. Just that. Just that point there. And then that stuff dries out. I thought about putting oil on it or something. Then we have this little Dalton Classic here that was missing its ear before it ever got in the creek because it's all patinaed the same. But this thing just has amazing flaking on it. Focus, come on, we're on the tripod. We should be getting a good focus whether the background's showing or not. This is one nice little point. Even with the ear gone. And we watched me find this, I think last winter. this drill here, well, at first we thought Graham Cave, but I think it's more a hemp hill. The spot where I find it at, same spot I find Dalton's. But that bit is just as translucent as ever. There we go, there's some good shine through right there. Glass and tan. Some nice mosaic. Then this little guy here is a Johnson, which he's ground all three sides, but has some real nice flaking. Johnson's a downstep from a Dalton. Here's another point. I'm not sure what it is. I think that's a nick out of it. It's an actual blade, but we know it's definitely early archaic just from its flaking. And then it's kind of napped the same way that one hemp pill was. It has a little tiny beveled edge that follows each edge of blade coming down about halfway, and then it just is on the one side, the top side. And pestle man, you can see the flaking on this dude? And I don't know, I mean, there's a lot of edge beat up here, a lot of edge beat off. But it's either a Dalton Sloan or it's a Scott's Bluff knife. And this is the only side that has any good flaking on it. The other side has this cotton rock inside of it, and the flaking's just gone, wore away, except for where there's brown at. And it was ground, because the only little bit of base that wasn't beat off by the creek is just like heavily ground right there. And it's heavy ground, but just as thin as can be. Then over here, you watched me find this Dalton classic. I called it a Graham Cave the day I picked it up, which I should have known better. I know it was no Graham Cave, but what throwed me off was I guess that looked more like a shoulder there instead of just a real weak shoulder. But it's a classic left-handed bevel Dalton, but teeing it up hard by the creek. And then here's one of my favorite Daltons, a Holland Dalton, which is just made out of some stellar material. Mosaic, of course. And it's got not much of the tip missing. A few blade dings down it. A nice blade ding there. A little bitty one right there. And I found this actually hunting in the water, and then where I picked it up at, it was sitting up against a rock about fist size with the tip up against it like that. And actually I was standing up, but it's fresh out of the bank too. It probably got beat up that roll and the tip crushed off that roll. And that was a crying shame, but that's just how they are when they get in the creek. I still appreciate it for what it is. It's an awesome point. It's awesome material. This is my first Dalton I ever found in the creek, and it's a Dalton classic. Got a creek tip on it. That ear there just worn away from probably being beat in the creek. This would have had serrations in it, of course. But just a stellar little point. This was hiding like on the backside of a big rock. I just stepped on that rock and looked down. I could see it hiding there. Yeah, it was cool. Wasn't filming at that time. We watched me find this back early spring. Freshly missing a little bit of tip, I think. But a stellar little Angostura. Just made awesome. Almost fully translucent. Just that little bit of the base there. It's actually that line that runs through it there's all translucent too. Just the light ain't bright enough. Stellar little point. Then we watched me find this stellar Dalton here with the paleo art in it. And this tip probably had an impact break. You can kind of tell right there and a little bit in the front. And then they reworked it, of course. And then, so it's just missing this little bit of ear that was taken off by the creek. And it has the beveled edge on the left side, but it's beveled on that side too. And it works its way all the way to the base, and then the beveling stops right there. So I believe it's a Dalton Sloan sharpened down. That's why it has the beveling. I don't think it's been a Dalton Classic. Just a stellar piece. Awesome material. See, up here's the falcon. It's a bird flying. Still ain't figured out what this is supposed to be, but some kind of animal. Here it's just got a couple little bull's eyes in it right there. Just an awesome piece. And here's another Dalton Sloan. And see, it's collateral flaking on this side. Has flaking that comes here and then overlaps from this side. But then this side, it's flaking that all goes straight across. It makes it flat, but just goes straight across. Then got the big thinning strikes down in there. Would have had the little ear on it, like the other one. Tip freshly taken off by the creek. But that dude's 12,000 years old. That's old. It's old. And this, a couple people before have called it a rice lancelot. I've always, come on, focus, called it a parallel, eastern parallel lancelot. And it still is one of my favorite creek points. It has a bevel running down this edge. Just how I found it, and the people that were with me will always make it one of my most favorite finds, especially how I found it. And it's a cool point. It's got a nice creek tip on it. The base is ground, but it's had a little nick off of it there, and a little bit off that corner right there. And then this side isn't near as nice as the material is on this side. Call it my dark caramel. And this is one of my only, and it's got the tip missing and a nick in the blade. But usually we find the Graham caves with the ears gone. And because it has a bevel on it, a couple of guys have called it a white river. Well, we don't have white rivers this far north, really. We're more Graham caves. Stellar little point. When I found this one. I don't think us filming yet either. Then here we got a Dalton Breckenridge, or I'm sorry, a Dalton Greenbrier. If you can see it, it has a big flute on this side, or big thinning strike actually. This side over here, it has it again. It has two of them though. Comes here and he had a problem, and it has another one there. Then in the ears, it's so heavily ground, it's been ground flat right there pretty much. If you can see that. Trying to make sure everything's focusing in. But got the real nice collateral flaking. And creek worn. But it's all there. Some nice light patina to it. Probably would have been a really white point, I'd say. Okay, this little point here, I think is like a small Dalton Sloan worked down. It's made out of some stellar material. And there's some cool stuff. The tip, I think it's more worked like that and then heavily used. Would have been a much bigger point at one time, I'd say. But everything under 12,500 is just transitional. Then here's another hemp hill point. It's like a hemp hill knife. See the great big thinning strikes running in it. Some really cool mosaic. All the flaking on this side's like at one point it all goes flat, straight across. There's a couple diagonal flakes thrown in there, but it's pretty much all straight across flaking. It's got a little bit of curvature towards the tip, but some awesome material. Then this little guy here, it's not ground, but we still believe it's an Angostura. Just has unbelievable flaking in it. Just some awesome flaking in it. And then it was a much larger point at one time. If you can see it, that's probably caused from when it was larger and it was an impact break. Then they sharpened it right down to it again, probably where they couldn't sharpen it up anymore, or didn't need to sharpen it up past that point, I guess. Nice orangish going into a little gray in the base there. Just our little piece. Then this here, found this on the big river, and a couple people said they thought it was like a Cody Complex knife, so I've left it in this case. But I figured with this patina on it, it had to be old to begin with. But it's so small and so, then the river's so long, you really, I mean, you can see it's flaking, but there ain't nothing special about it. But then if you look at it just right, it looks like a face. There's his eye. There's his nose, there's his mouth, you know, a mouth right there, his chin, long nose coming down his face. Goodbye. And this here, someone else been trying to tell me it's a Johnson. But if you can see the flaking on this thing, even starting down here, running all the way down to the other corner of the base, it's all diagonal flaking. Every bit of it is oblique transverse flaking on this side. And that's outer core right there of the rock. That's the original cortex. Then the edge is all got like little bevels on it and heavily ground. And this side, has these beveled edges from the resharpening, but you can tell when it was a larger point, it was a well fluted point. That's Look at this one flake, or actually it's two, I guess, kind of, but it draws together. I mean, tell me that wasn't a heck of a napper. Here's that flake. It draws all the way through there like a circle, which it probably came so far this way, and then the rest probably came from that way, but still. And that may have been after he resharpened it. That there may have just continued on straight through. Don't know. But it is a stellar little point. Completely there. Pink. Notice how my camera's doing it justice. I got a film protector on the back. Kind of messes up my vision a little bit. Now this point here is heavily ground in the ears and in the base. I don't think it's a Dalton. It's not a rice. That's what you're thinking. Some type of really worked down transitional point. Just sharpened way down. Not sure what. But some cool material. This is a Dalton Breckenridge. Really rough. Really rough. Got the left hand bevel still and the bevel on the other side. Made out of some old tough mosaic. But a rough point. Then this point I got here, I've seen a Snake Creek in the book in Tennessee, Kentucky, but the old boy called this a Snake River, and I don't know. It's got a beveled edge running down this side here, but this side here kind of has it compared to if you look at the rest of the flaking. It's just not a very strong bevel, kind of like those 1 points are. And then that's cross rhomboid beveling. I mean, I'm sure you can see that resharpening bevel really good. Hopefully you're catching that flaking really good. Then another little sharpened down transitional point. Sharpened down to almost you just don't know what to call it. Then up here we got some brokes I thought I'd show. This here's a Dalton. I think this ear was sharpened off, but it may have had a little bit there coming off, broke off there. And the tip was taken off, but man, that'd have been a sweetie. Oh man. Then look at this base. Another big old thinning strike in it, would you? Flute channel, some people would want to call it. Ground, man, that there. And it's flaking on its edges, almost makes you think of a Clovis way it looks, but pretty sure it's just Dalton. And here's another really cool Dalton base I got. Some tips. This is a cool tip here. I just got into my hunting spot and stepped down there in the first gravel bar. Right where you stepped off, there was a footprint, and I could see that thing in the gravel, kind of like that. Dang, are we really going on 30 minutes? I got 4 minutes left. Well, another tip. Then here's a broken drill. Even had the serrations there, serrations there. And then it's just ground as smooth as a baby's butt right there. And this come out of my little sea of dirt. I ain't never found any other Daltons out there before. I think we got some transitional square knives. They may even be paleo or Dalton square knives, but and just some other things, some other tips. Old broken Graham cave. Here's a Pike County. Look at the impact break on this thing. Well, and before it's over with real quick, I better show these, but I had to cut a platform out for starting my pipe here, because I'm either make a frog or a turtle effigy, but that left me a little chunk to cut some beads out of, and let me get this one instead. This one here still needs sanded down a little bit, and this one didn't have near as much black that turned out of it, but this one here did. And then I've even started polishing on this one, but I got a lot of polishing left to go. This one here, I gotta fix this end just a little bit, kind of real good, which I got a little bit of room to shorten it on, but I don't know if you can see the difference as to what needs polished. And like this one here still needs even sandpaper done on it, and then it don't have a lot of the black either. And that one there has more, and that one there has more. But I'm gonna put 2 on a necklace for myself, and then 2 on a necklace for someone else. I ain't thought about who yet though, but I wish I had more I could cut out of that, but I just don't. That's a pipe, the rest of that. Well, hope you enjoyed it. I thought about making it a challenge. Your oldest show us your oldest points. But I don't know. There's been so many challenges going around. If you want to do that, cool. You know, if you don't, then don't. But Pestle Man asked to see him, so there they are. For the rest of you that caught the view, thanks for watching. Thanks for your comments. You guys are awesome. Hope you enjoyed my oldest point show. Don't Clovis yet. Maybe I'll be lucky one day. Later.